Hey everybody, it's time for another mouthpiece video, and this time we have the Theo Wanne Jazz Essentials for baritone saxophone. Anyone who's watched my recent videos knows I've really fallen in love with the Theo Wanne mouthpieces, and I've been really fortunate to be able to try out all of these jazz essentials lately. Now, I personally purchased a Brahma for both tenor and Bari, as well as the New York Brothers for the alto, but it's been great to compare those more high-end mouthpieces with their consumer version. And consumer does not mean bad or worse, or that it's somehow a beginner or student mouthpiece. It just means it's made out of a more affordable material, which brings the cost way down. These are literally almost 4 times less money than the Brahmas, and they play almost as good. It's really hard to tell the difference, and I really think that this Theo Wanne Jazz Essentials for Bari lives up to all the other ones I've tried out. It has a great core sound, it's easy to control, and it really makes the Bari sax sing both high and low. Now, recently I did a short shootout with my Van Doren reeds versus my Diodario Jazz Selects, and I think I've started to migrate toward the Jazz Selects when playing on the Theo Wannes. I think it gives it a little more warmth, and it helps bring out the low end just a little bit. I found that the Van Dorens kind of held me back a little bit, and I needed a little bit more oomph. The reed I was testing this mouthpiece on was a Jazz Select 3 Soft that was filed, and I kind of wish I had an unfiled, because this mouthpiece needed a little bit more darkness in the low end, but it still made a really great sound. I've been moving back toward the Rovner ligatures rather than my Van Dorens. I like to control the sound of some of these brighter mouthpieces so I can get a little bit more control and a little bit more core to the sound. Now, these are not by any stretch of the imagination a really bright or really loud mouthpiece. They're a very contemporary jazz sound, but it blends well with a big band. I've had it played on in my sax quartet, and it sounded amazing, and it let the player play in a subdued manner but still cut through when they needed to be the soloist. I like the response, both high and low, like I said, and it really gives it a singing quality, and it doesn't feel like you have to work real hard to make the high notes sound nice. There's not a lot of embouchure change or anything, and as a Bari Sax specialist, I'm really particular with stuff like that, because it's really easy for the mouthpiece to kind of take on a life of its own and really force you to do a lot with your embouchure, which in reality you shouldn't have to do that much change. It's not a wedge baffle mouthpiece that really takes a lot of the pressure off of your mouth. You're really going to have to produce a little more air to get the sound you want. But again, that's actually what I would prefer out of a jazz mouthpiece, because I think it's easier to tone shape and get subtone and things when you have more control over the mouthpiece. I find that the sound and the profile reminds me a lot of a really nice hard rubber auto link, but again, it's a really just great mouthpiece, so what's the point in comparing so much? I definitely think this mouthpiece can keep up with a big band, but I also think it's appropriate if you're a doubler and you need to play in a more subdued fashion when you're in a pit orchestra or something like that. It also works really well as a soloist if you just want great sound so that when you're improvising, people can hear the tone and the breadth of what you're playing. If you're like me and you play a little bit of all the saxophones, check out my other videos on the alto and the tenor, as well as my review on the Brahma for both tenor and baritone. There's just some really great sounds out there coming out of Theo Wanne, and I really enjoy working with this company. If you're liking the content or the videos, please like and subscribe the channel. If you have any suggestions of things you're hoping to learn, or if you have any more questions, please throw them down in the comments. I really like answering questions, and I think it really helps people who are really reading through this, hoping to get some clarity on whether or not they should invest in this mouthpiece. At about $225, I think this one's kind of a steal, so don't hesitate to run out and purchase one if you're curious. got a lot of great music coming out in 2025, so check back in the channel or whatever streaming service you like, and I hope you'll join me the next time. Thanks so much for watching.